this is Johnny Slick from Straight Shot Training. I'm the owner and head coach. We're working with Bailey today. Bailey is on our Strongman program. She's been having some issues with her squat. Her box squat is what? 300. So she gets box squat 300, and then your free squat, just like your back squat's what?
200.
Like 200. So there's a 100-pound difference between her box squat and her free squat. So we're looking at her box squat, and then we're looking at her free squat, and see what's happening. Why is there such a big difference between the strength numbers there? So let's look at your box squat first. You can go and come around the side here and see. Just one more. Awesome. Good to sit up. Alright, so move this out of the way. Everything looked good on that. So she was holding her midline tight. She sat her hips back. Everything looked good in the box squat. I mean, that's why you're box squatting 300 pounds. But yeah, let's see how it looks with your free squat now. You can just set it up. Stay at the top for a second and come around this way to the back. Yep. Yep. One more. There we go. All right, so a couple of things. So starting with the feet. Your stance is different when you're doing your box squat as opposed to your free squat.
Yeah.
So it goes
Like less wide?
Yes.
I like that.
Less wide on your box squat than your free squat. Yes. So you're standing wider, but you're also standing with your toes like pretty much straight forward on your box squat. Whenever you're doing your free squat, you're standing in your, especially the left leg, because you know your left foot turns out more. Left foot turns out, so what's happening is in the bottom of your squat, you can run this way so he can see. You're hitting that bottom position, the foot rolls in, especially that knee comes in, so you lose all stability here that you're not losing when you're doing your box squat for two reasons. One of them is the depth. So are you always box squatting something like this high? Yeah. So since you're only sitting to like a position above parallel, you're able to hold all that tension here, and you're holding it all here. As soon as you sit down into that bottom position of your free squat, once your hip crease hits this point here, and that knee caves in, you lose all tension through here, and then you don't get it until you hit your point on the box squat where you have tension anyway. So you're good from here to here. It's just when you sit lower, that's where you lose it. But you already knew that. So now we'll figure out what we need to do to fix it. So we'll look at mobility first, which I think you have plenty of. I think it's more of a stability issue. So we'll look at mobility, and then we'll look at stability. So the first thing we're going to look is Bailey sunbathes. We're going to look at her internal rotation. So I'm thinking that she's probably missing internal rotation. That's what's turning that one foot, her left foot, out. So go ahead and bring both legs up here, stop here, and I want you to pull your feet apart from each other. All right. So I know it's hard to see from where you all are at. We don't have to move the camera around, but what we have is how far she can come out is pretty similar. Her right side does go out a little bit more, so she has a little bit better internal rotation on the right side, but it's not terrible on the left. So, and actually, this is pretty mobile. So now I'm going to have you turn over onto your back. So that was her just laying face down. Now we're going to put her hip into flexion, and we're looking at her internal rotation while she's up. So you use it up. Okay, and I want to see how far, just this leg, how far can you twist this one this way without moving your hips at all? Yep, and then come back in, and then let me see the other one. Okay, and then bring it back in. You know, do both at the same time. Do you feel a difference at all in there? Yeah, they look about the same on this one too. Okay? And the mobility on that one is good. So it looks like mobility so far, everything's pretty good. Let's go and straighten this leg out. Let's bring this leg all the way up, keep your leg straight. So what I want to look at is her active range of motion. How far can she pull this leg up by herself while her hips stay down, this leg stays straight here. Can you come up any higher than that? Pull up a little higher with your leg straight. There you go. Good, and then go take it back down. Come back up this way. Move up a little bit. Good. The sun's in your eyes, sort of blocking here. And so that's hip flexion, like coming up. It's a good test of hamstring flexibility. and also how strong your hip flexors are, that still doesn't look too bad. But obviously we're not in the squat position, so we want to test some things actually in your squat position. So go ahead and sit up. I want you to sit with your legs straight out in front of you. I want you to put your hands down beside your knees here. Yep. Then try to keep your chest up. So this is going to mimic you at your 90-degree position in your squat. With your toes, put your toes straight up. Now keep your abs tight. Lift one leg up and higher. And then down, okay? Same thing other side. Lift it up. Okay? Alright, so now I want you to lift the one up and we're just going to hold it for as long as you can. Okay? Same thing other side. Okay? Which side was easier? Right? Okay. So what's happening at the bottom of her squat is that her right hip flexor is stronger, more endurant than her left side. And it's her left side is kind of caving in. So what I'd seen before with Bailey squat is I figured she probably didn't have a lot of strength in her hip flexors in the bottom position. You have great range of motion. So what the weight is doing is the weight is pulling you down. So the weight's on your back and you're kind of just plopping into your squat position. But you don't actually have any strength in that position. So you need to be able to, you really should only be squatting as low as you can pull yourself down, right? So we're gonna do another test here where we see how far can you pull yourself in this position. And then we'll do a drill to help you kind of like mentally make a mind-muscle connection to figure out when you need to start coming up on your squat. Because I think that you might be bottoming out in your squat when you don't need to be sitting that low. Right. Yep. So we're gonna start with a quadruped squat, starting here. I'm gonna pull myself back this way. So push with my hands, but I'm also pulling from here. Pull myself back into this position with my back staying flat. You're gonna stop before you feel your butt tuck under and you're plopping into this position here. So starting up in this kind of forward plank, sit back, abs stay braced, pull yourself back until you feel like your hip flexors are gonna cramp, and then come back up this way. And we'll do 5 nice and smooth like that. So your shoulders are gonna be out farther than you think they need to be. Feet in your squat width, maybe a tiny bit wider. Yep. Okay, so you're gonna be out forward more. Go in this way first. And put your butt down. So that's the top position. Yep. Now abs are braced. And now use your hip flexors to pull you back. Okay, and then come forward. I want you to keep your knees lower to the ground this time, so you bend your knees more as you go back. Yep, there you go. And bend your knees more, and use your hip flexors to pull, stop, and come back up. Go again. This is a great drill if you're trying to figure out how low you should squat. You want to be able to squat obviously as low as you can with your back staying flat. So your back stays flat here. Now Bailey, why don't you go and keep pushing back until you feel your back round out. Do you feel where you're losing there? Yeah, so come back up. Yep, right there's good. Come back. Stay low. Hold. Do you feel your hip flexors in that position?
Yeah,
there?
I just started feeling like I'm giving up.
You start to feel, it starts to feel weak, right? Yeah, so this would be a great drill for Bailey to incorporate into her warm-ups, like a prehab exercise, where she can start getting those hip flexors to fire before she squats. Yep. And always keeping this as tight as possible by drawing in your abs and bracing, like you're trying to pull your ribs down and squeeze your butt tight in that front position. And obviously your butt's not going to be tight when you're moving back, but keep your ribs down in that position as you go back. All right, so go ahead and put your arms straight up. Right, close your eyes. Bring your knees to your chest here, and then your feet are up. So again, we're always trying to mimic this squat position here. So her back is flat, knees are flexed here, and we're going to be working this hip flexor by pulling the knee to your chest with a toe up, while this leg pushes all the way out and get this leg completely straight, almost towards the ground though. So you can go down lower, 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 and pull this knee up higher, higher, higher. There we go. Hold, and we're going to bring this knee back in, and then we're going to send the other side out. It's called a dead bug march. We use this in our prehab workouts at the beginning of Straight Shot Strongman and regular Straight Shot programming to help activate that hip flexor. Also, it's a great core stability drill. You see she's trying to keep her ribs down and keeping her back flat here. You can pull your shoulder blades into the ground. There you go. That's going to help you activate a little more core. Yep. And then one more on the other side. Good. You can go ahead and stop there. And we're going to do a standing version of a hip flexor drill. So you just keep that right around your feet and just stand up. Stand up like that. Okay. So while you're standing there, actually go ahead and like hobble, scoot off here. There we go. Nice jump. So you're gonna bring one leg up, while the other leg, I want you to squeeze your butt as tight as you can in your right leg and bring your left knee up as high as you can, and then down, and then switch. Yep, and just keep going back and forth. Up as high as you can. And other side. Good, go ahead and turn towards me so they can see from the side and keep marching in place. There you go. Do you feel this a lot in the glute of the down leg? Or are you feeling more hip flexion in the top leg?
I don't.
Okay. Nice thing about this one is you're getting glute in the down leg and hip flexion in the top leg, so it's working both sides of the hip to try to help you keep everything tight around the hip as you're squatting. Yep, let's do one more. Nice. Good, so there's the banded dead bug marches and then the standing hip flexion marches. Cool. Alright, so for this next one, we're going to be kneeling or half kneeling. So put one leg down in line with the pole. You can hold a bar up this way as well. I'm going to hold on to it and I'm going to drill this ribs down position to keep my core tight and squeeze my butt tight on the butt cheek on the leg that's down. And I'm going to push down this way to lock in my lats. While I'm holding here, I'm going to lift this leg up with my toe coming up. Hold, push down, come back down. So this is a parallel squat. This is a just below parallel squat. What I don't want to see is this, where you're allowing your butt to round up. Bailey mentioned before we set this drill up, she was feeling like this like all on her quads. Your rectus femoris is one of your quad muscles that runs all the way from down your shin, all the way up here. It does this, but it also does this. So if you're feeling a lot of it in your quads, especially up here, that's because one of your hip flexors is one of your quads. Yeah, don't hit your head. Alright, so we got her set up. So first, ribs down, abs braced. Yep, the back is still flat. Push your hands down to your lats engaged. Keep your hands where they were, but just apply pressure down. Butt squeeze tight on that back leg. Yep, now raise the front leg. Hold, toe up as hard as you can. Anytime you dorsiflex, that's pulling that toe up, that's going to help you hip flex. So think about us sprinting form, pulling up this way, dorsiflexion, knee flexion, hip flexion in that front leg. Then back down. Do another one. Hold. So if you're looking at the side, obviously you're looking at the side, you see that she's just below parallel here. Back down. Her spine staying nice and flat. If we put a floor underneath her and both her legs look like this, would be a great squat for Bailey. She has full control in this bottom position. It's not passive where she's plopping down and back up. It's active range of motion. She can actually pull herself into that position. Cool, so let's go ahead and try the other side. And we'll keep our view here. That way you can see what's supposed to be happening on this side. So, butt tight, ribs down, lats engaged, get out of the way. Do you feel a difference on this side?
Yeah.
It feels a lot easier, right? Yeah. So anytime you have some type of strength imbalance where one side is much more endurant or much stronger than the other side, it's not bad to do a little bit of extra work on the bad side. It's just you want to make sure you're still working both sides. So maybe do one more set on the side of the problem leg or the problem side. All right, so now that we've done those drills on the ground, we addressed mobility, which doesn't really have mobility issues. We didn't test ankle range of motion, but we already know you have very, very good ankle range of motion. If this was somebody that was just starting to work with, that would be probably one of the first things. Yeah, one of the first things we look at would be ankle range of motion. But Bailey's got great ankle range of motion, good hip range of motion. It's a matter of stability. So we did those couple of stability drills on the ground. The problem I see with a lot of athletes is they do all of those drills, but they never really incorporate it immediately into their squatting or the deadlifting or the lunging or something that's more applicable to it. So it's not just about doing the prehabby stuff, it's you have to incorporate it into a drill immediately so then you can get your body to remember what you just did down on the ground. So we're going to go right into a goblet squat. We're going to be using our plates here. And what I want you to do is as we're holding this, I want you to imagine that you are pulling yourself down into your squat using your hip flexors. So rather than sitting, thinking about, chest up, sit back on the heels, abs tight, think totally differently. I want you to only think about pulling. I'm going to hold here, hips back, and I'm going to pull myself in the bottom position where I still feel my back flat, and then squeeze my butt tight on the way. Pull, stop, up fast. Good, down. You can use it. We just had the 45s out with us. You can use a smaller weight. You can even do a body weight here. This gives you a little bit more of a challenge. You can feel what it feels like to pull yourself down, and the counterbalance of the weight being in the front helps out a little bit with keeping your chest up, so you can really engage those hip flexors. One more. It's always one more. There we go. Good. Okay, so did that feel any different?
Yeah.
Are you?
Well, front stuff is easier for me.
Yes, because you never have an issue with your front squat. So now we just need to look at the back squat.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. All right, so let's go get your back squat set up. All right. So while we were switching and getting everything set up here, Bailey asked, well, why is it so much more difficult to do a back squat than a front squat? She does not have these issues on her front squat. So your knees don't cave in or anything. Keep your chest up with your front squat. The trouble is with the back squat. On a front squat, you actually have less hip range of motion required as opposed to a back squat. You have more ankle range of motion, which we know that you have like rock star ankle range of motion, so it's not an issue. So on a front squat, your chest is up and your knees are coming farther forward, so you actually have less of a hip angle here. On your back squat, watch as I shift my knees back in my back squat position, how my hip angle closes up. So this is more ankles, less hips in your front squat, more hips, less ankles on your back squat. So it requires more active hip flexion in a back squat than a front squat does. Let's go ahead and look at your back squat now without the aid of a bench. And I want you to think just on what, we're only going to do one rep. So walk it out, get set up, but think about pulling yourself down and then applying that equal pressure on the outside of your foot. And let's go look down at your feet. I want you to make them even. So if you have maybe if you're standing on a clock, you're on like 1 and 11 on the clock. There you go. Okay? We'll do one from the back and then we'll get set up from the side here. So sit slow, pull yourself down, then back up. Good. Yep, go ahead and rack it up. Alright, so how'd that feel?
It's good. I can tell that I didn't want to go as far down.
Okay, so you still, do you feel how low you are though?
I don't know where I'm at.
Yeah.
Probably because I go so low typically.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, this is why it's good to video yourself from the side. So maybe start videotaping your lifts and see what it looks like from the side. Because I always sit way lower than I need to. That's why it's helpful to have, sometimes either a coach that cueing you from the side or a video so you can see how low you're squatting. So we're gonna get one from the side now. See what the squat looks like. Same thing, just one rep. And then look at your feet. They go ground up. That was great. Yeah. So you still feel a little more control on that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not dipping, I'm not falling out.
You're not flopping, you're slow. And so it feels slower on the way down, right?
Yeah.
And it should.
I'm not stabilizing.
Yes. Yes. So what are you thinking about in your feet?
I'm gripping. Oh, I don't do that.
So it needs to, yeah. So obviously Bailey has kind of a leg up on some newer athletes maybe who are just learning how to squat. We didn't go over like what you're doing with your feet because we already know, we talked about what you're doing with your feet. So what she's saying is she's gripping the ground with her feet and acting like she's trying to spin her feet out this way by using her hips to apply like torque or torsion to the ground. That's going to keep her knees from caving in. That's going to help her keep towards the outside of her foot with her big toe staying down. So big toe, pinky, and the heel on the ground as she squats. It's going to have a better platform to squat off of so that knee's not caving in. But when you're sitting so fast, you're kind of losing that and that just drops in. So sitting slower is going to help you out a lot. Let's do one more here. Let's get just a tiny bit lower. I want you to feel that hip flexor kind of turn on when you the bottom of your squat. Back. Yep. Push it down. Yep. Lower. Okay, so it's tougher there. It's a little lower, right? Good. Yep. Good. Sit up. So as you do those drills on the ground when you did before, that's going to help you get more range. So whereas you were kind of plopping before, I would maybe stick to that squat that feels a little bit high to you, which is still a great squat. But if you want to get lower, it might help you with things like improving your front squat. It might help you with like stone loading, or if you're squatting in an event, they're telling you to squat lower, then you're going to have to squat lower, but you want to be able to do it safely. So yeah, I would start working on trying to get a little bit lower in your squat, just for the sake of it carrying over to other things. You always want to be able to squat as low as you can with your back staying flat, just to build strength at a full range of motion. But if you're trying to get your back squat numbers up, you're squatting to a perfect point where you're at. It's just a little bit lower than your box squat. So the other option is you could also make your box squat slightly lower, so you can learn what it feels like to sit and stop and then come out of that position. So Bailey's homework is going to be one of those or two of those hip flexor prehab movements every time before you squat, and then either lowering your box squat just slightly for some of the workouts, or having somebody watch you or videoing yourself on the side whenever you do your free squats to make sure that you're not bottoming out in your squat. Sitting a little bit slower, maybe dropping the weight down a little bit, and kind of rebuilding that squat as you're totally thinking differently now about your squat. Thinking about pulling yourself down rather than just, I think you're mainly thinking about how do I get up?
Right.
It's also how do I get down so I can get up out of it safely. Cool, so thank you, Bailey. Thank you guys for watching. Head over to straightshottraining.com if you want to get on the program. It's got Bailey this jacked, or if you want to get on the Straight Shot training program, we have strongman programs as well as general physical preparedness programs. So check it out, straightshottraining.com. Thank you for watching.